Today is Thursday, May 9th, 2024. Hi Lan, hi folks, it's Lev. Welcome back to another video. For those of you who are new, I use him pronouns. Back in here, I rarely film in this room. I think I said that with the last video I posted like 2 months ago. I don't often film in this room, but it's quiet and yeah, so it's free, so I'm filming in this room. And I really like this hoodie. It's like two colors. It's like sort of camo-y and it has a hood as well. Today, I want to talk about how we often underestimate ourselves. Also, I'm checking myself in the camera and seeing if the angle is still good or whether I should change the angle. How we often underestimate ourselves with a lot of things in life. And I want to talk about my experiences with swimming. So, a little bit of backstory, context. I have historically not been great at swimming. I have avoided water-based things because I keep thinking I'm going to drown. And when I was in primary school, we had like swimming lessons in primary school, but I never seemed to like get it or like I never got how to swim. Like I didn't get it. I never learned how to float properly. I never learned how to swim properly, even though I went for like a couple of years throughout as part of the school program. I just never picked it up. And then I've been scared of water activities basically most of my life. I would go to the beach and stuff and I would go in the water, but I wouldn't go beyond a level where I cannot touch the ground or where there is risk of me not being able to touch the floor of the body of water, whether it's the beach or a swimming pool. And so I restarted swimming lessons like 3 weeks ago since filming this video. The other context is when I was going through trans stuff and coming out and transitioning, I had a lot of chest dysphoria, and then I also avoided water activities since I got top surgery, because when I realized I'm trans and I started transitioning, chest dysphoria, I didn't want to be in public in like pools or like the beach, like where people could see my breast, essentially like the shape of my breast before I got top surgery, because that made me very self-conscious, very uncomfortable. So I avoided water-based activities when I was transitioning and came out, except for like going swimming with my family in like a hotel pool that was like isolated and there was no one else there but my family, but like not public pools, not beaches and stuff like that. So present day, so I've been scared of water basically my whole life because I keep thinking I'm going to drown. And then the narrative I kept telling myself was, I cannot swim. It's not I don't know how to swim, it's I can't swim. And if I go in water, I will die. That's literally what I've been telling myself most of my life. I can't swim, I'm going to die if I go in water. I'm going to die, I will drown. I will drown. That's what I keep telling myself. I can't swim, I will die, I will drown. And so that's the narrative that I've had around water for like being in water and water-based activities most of my life. And so, yes, I started swimming lessons. Actually, I started again in like October last year. I had 2 lessons. I injured my foot and then I didn't swim again until 3 weeks ago today. So 3 weeks ago, around 3 weeks ago. So that's the basis for this whole story. So I restarted again 3 weeks ago, and next week I will have my 4th beginner swimming lesson. The first lesson again was, I got tired swimming. This was like, what is it? The October last year lesson, the very first one I had since primary school. I was so tired. Just swimming like 15 meters, like 10 meters tired me out. tired me out because I hadn't actually swam in so long. I think since primary school, like I hadn't swam. And it tired me out so much. I'm like, I do martial arts. I didn't expect swimming to tire me out so quickly. I didn't really know technique. I wasn't confident in being water. I panicked while I was in water. I panicked a lot. I felt like I couldn't breathe when I was trying to do like freestyle or even just holding the kickboard in front of me straight and just doing like a torpedo. I felt like I couldn't breathe properly. My breath control was atrocious. 2 seconds with my face in water and I feel like I'm going to drown and like swallow the water and drown. Not water confident. Felt like I was going to die every 2 seconds. Didn't have much self-confidence. Just within and that was like October, November last year. Going back to 3 weeks ago, restarting again. Still wasn't water confident because I was like off for 6 months since I injured my foot. I cut it specifically and I wanted to fully heal before I actually went in water again. Chlorine water and stuff. So 3 weeks ago, yep, wasn't confident either. And just within the past 3 weeks, at the past 3 weeks, when I post a video, it might be another week or two. Within the past 3 weeks of filming this video, I have surprised myself. I have surpassed my own damn expectations of what I am able to do in terms of swimming. Going from I can't swim to the swimming teacher telling me I did a perfect backstroke within my 3rd beginner lesson of restarting lessons is fucking mind-blowing to me because I didn't believe her. I was just staring at her, the swim teacher, in disbelief and being like, what? And I was staring at her in disbelief for like 5 seconds. And it's just telling other students to do it like me. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, huh? I was in utter disbelief. I didn't believe her. And it's such a mind-boggling shift. Again, going from I can't swim, I'm going to die in water to you did a perfect backstroke. It's just like the leap in my head is so big and I just still can't believe that it happened. Like the leap is massive for me. Going from not confident at all to the swim teacher telling me that. It's just, the gap is just incomprehensible. I just lost the 6-minute segment of my video. The mic thing still happens. It's been happening since 2 years ago and it still happens now. I think it's my camera app, but then sometimes with my camera app, it works. Like the previous clip I filmed worked. And then the next film thing I filmed, it didn't work. And then my audio wasn't here with the video. And now I have to refilm my segment. I don't remember fully what I said. I'm just gonna wing it again. This is a second take. The other big leap that I found, which is baffling to me, is my ability to remain calm underwater. It's like when I started, I panicked a lot and I felt like I couldn't breathe. Like with my face in water for like 2 seconds, I feel like I couldn't breathe. And now I can go under for like 7-8 seconds and feel this like very calm meditative state and not hesitate at all. As in, I don't panic. I don't feel like I'm going to die. If I feel like my lungs or my body's telling me start going up now, you're running out of oxygen, then I just come up to the surface very calmly and not like in an abrupt, like panicky manner. I just like, okay, and then I just like boost myself back up to the surface and I just like come out like a ninja emerging from the water, not like in a panicked, frantic state. My mind, like I find it very meditative, so I just like sink under and breathe out. When I breathe out, I sink, so I breathe out, all these bubbles come up, then I sink, and I just sit at the bottom of the pool. This is the 1.5 meter. I don't swim at the 2 meter end because it's too deep for me right now, and my risk of drowning significantly increases if I go down that end because I'm still working on floating. So I just sink to the bottom in the 1.5 meter pool, and I just sit there for like 7-8 seconds, and I come back up, and then I just go down again. I just sit there, and it's quite meditative. Like being underwater, I find, I don't know, something about being underwater is very calming. It's very meditative. It's like sort of reconnection with nature, because water is an element of nature in a way. Like it's like when I go to the park or see greenery or go hiking, then it's a different form of like meditative state. It's very calming in a different way. But being underwater, like an element, the element of water, being underwater, is also very calming and meditative, and I really like it. The other thing I've been gradually improving on is my leg stamina. So swimming when I started was so exhausting. I struggled to swim 10 meters without tiring out. Like in the shallow pool where I take lessons, it's only like probably like 10 meters across. It's short. It's probably like 10 to 15 meters across. And I got tired even swimming halfway through that pool, which is like 7 meters or something, and I got so exhausted so fast. And it's like with swimming, it's like the technique is kicking from the hip and keeping your leg straight, kicking from the hip, whether it's freestyle or backstroke. It's just, it tired me out so quickly. But now I'm doing like 25-meter laps up and back and feeling okay with it. Whereas when I started, I just found swimming 10 meters tiring. And then when I went to the other pool to swim alone, I found doing one lap of 25 meters, just like one lap of 25 meters, tiring. My legs gave out, and I'm just like, what? And now I can go up and back a couple of times, which is like 100 meters before I start feeling tired in my legs. And the other thing is also, I started I'm gradually relying less and less and less on the kickboard. So when I start, I hold the kickboard in front of me like a torpedo position, and I use that to float while I kick like freestyle position, and then do like the head tilt thing to get air every 2 seconds, like a rhythm, 1, 2, and get air, 1, 2, get air. I use that to help me float and build up my leg strength. And now I use that as a warm-up. Like today I used the kickboard swimming up and back as a warm-up, and then after I warmed up to a good amount, then I start dropping the kickboard, and then I just start torpedoing without the kickboard. Even though my legs sink a lot more without the kickboard, because with the kickboard I'm more like even surface to the water, and I keep my body up more because I have a floating thing. I'm connected to a floating thing. Without it, I sink a lot more, my head goes down a lot more, my shoulders go down a lot more, but I'm working on it, and this is hard right now. Yes, I'm not gonna swim at the same level as I do with a kickboard when I don't have a kickboard right now. But that's okay, and I like that challenge. The challenge is what's gonna allow me to grow. I'm gonna do it without the kickboard, and then I wanna gradually, as my leg strength increases even more, and my leg stamina increases more, to keep kicking at a high pace, to keep myself above the surface or near the surface and not have my legs sink down. What was I saying? The challenge. Yes, as I keep doing it, I'm just gonna get better and better and better, and then I'm going to one day swim and have my legs on the surface without a kickboard and be able to do freestyle. Because right now I'm not really doing my arms much. I'm more focusing on just my leg strength and kicking, and also learning how to breathe properly. And then once those two are good, then I'll start incorporating the arms, because I don't think it's too hard to incorporate the arms once my leg my kicking is good, and my ability to like control and tilt and breathe well is good, then I'll start adding the arms, and then I'll combine it all together and then practice that in one way, practice that whole thing together to become the entire freestyle movement of swimming. I have no idea what happened with the previous clip. So basically when I film videos, I check every single clip before I film the next clip, because sometimes the mic goes weird, and just then the clip I just deleted it, but it was like this static thing, and I'm like, is this like some alien trying to communicate with me? I've never had that issue with my mic before. That's so weird. I don't know what's happening. Like my microphone's being possessed by the devil or something. Like I don't know. What was I saying? I was saying, now I started doing underwater boxing. Imagine shadow boxing, which is like throwing punches without like hitting a heavy bag or a water bag, or like hitting your sparring partner. You're like air boxing essentially. And I've been doing boxing for the past 4 years, and then now since I started taking swimming lessons and basically have unlimited pool access with my membership, I go into the pool and I swim, but I also do underwater boxing. And then basically I do laps of swimming, and then I just like give my legs a break, then I start throwing hands in the water, and then I start swimming again, and I start throwing hands in the water. And then I incorporate that like sinking and meditative thing. It's like I sort of like go to the pool and do like my own version of like a little fun circuit where I don't just swim. I swim, I do underwater boxing, and then I do this underwater meditative thing. It's really fun. Yeah, I do underwater boxing and absolutely love it. And I've noticed that my on land boxing stamina has increased slowly and very gradually. It's not like this massive leap at once. It's like this gradual increase in stamina since I start doing swimming and doing underwater boxing. Because underwater boxing, I only have one breath, and then I do like combos underneath, but I try to do as many as I can before my body starts screaming and I need to go up for air. On land, I just have all this access to oxygen up here. On the water, I only have one breath, and I have to be mindful of like how much like my breathing as well. When I don't just go down and just exhale all of my air out, I control my breathing while underwater as well. It's just very fun. It's a challenge, and I love the challenge. Very fun, and it's also improving my like stamina overall, and I just feel less tired doing things. So now that was like context to this preface, like this whole the point I'm trying to make now, which I'm gonna get into like the lesson or the point I'm trying to make with this video about how we often underestimate ourselves. For me, the narrative around swimming has always been, I can't swim. I tell people I can't swim. I tell myself I can't swim. When people invite me to, I don't know, when people talk about swimming, I just immediately go to, I can't swim. I'm going to die. I can't swim. I can't swim. That's my narrative. I can't swim. But the past few weeks have shown otherwise through concrete evidence. It's like undeniable concrete evidence that I actually can swim, and I'm learning to swim, and I'm doing a lot better than I anticipated. I'm doing a lot better than I expected, and I'm even surpassing my own expectations of what I'm able to do within a couple of weeks. It's unbelievable. So this I can't swim mentality, and this I can't, yeah, I'm going back to I can't swim again. This I can't swim mentality is slowly shifting to I actually can swim. And while I might not swim like an Olympian, I'm learning really well, I'm learning really fast, and I am improving week by week by week by week in so many different ways and in different aspects of swimming. And it's like the original narrative that sort of dictated my perceptions of my own abilities is being shattered, and I am rewriting this new narrative over here. And it could be, I think it's very common, like we often jump to like, I can't do something before we've actually done it. And I think we might do that because of like anxiety or fear, or not wanting to be sort of throw ourselves out of our comfort zone. And speaking of comfort zone, there are a few times in the swimming lessons where the teacher just asks us to do something and I feel really hesitant to. I have like this 5 second hesitancy and then I'm like, fuck it, let's just do it. Like I'm starting to like nurture this fuck it, let's do it mentality. And I don't mean like something reckless, like, you know, speed in a car or go jump off like a bridge or like, you know, do something reckless. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying do something reckless and just disregard all consequence. I mean, with this mentality, it applies to things where anxiety often gets the better of me, like swimming, where the I can't swim mentality could lead me to hold back and not and be like, yeah, I can't do that. I don't want to do that today. I don't want to try it. But it's through doing this, like when she said, just go show me your freestyle, and I've only been practicing kicking and breathing in a torpedo and not really doing freestyle. I'm like, fuck it, let's just do it. I say it in my head and then I do it. And even though it's not great necessarily, I get invaluable feedback. And this is how I inevitably get better. I do I do the difficult thing even though I suck at it. And then I get feedback. And then I refine my technique. And then I have specific points to practice. And then I eventually get better. If I don't do the thing that I'm not good at, which I'm not meant to be good at in the first place because I am a beginner. That's the point of being a beginner, is to actually learn and make mistakes and basically not know much about the sport or activity or the thing we're trying to learn. And then just taking risks, being like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. And if I do it bad, oh well, that's part of the journey. Anyway, I'm just gonna do it. If it's bad, it's bad. I can't do anything. Actually, I lied. Not that I can't do anything. I can do something, is take the feedback and incorporate it into my future practice, which is how we get better. We can't start off something and be good at it. We can't start off something brand new that we haven't done before or have very little experience in and expect to be expert level. That's unrealistic. Also, we often underestimate ourselves because I think of the anxiety. We don't believe in our own abilities to adapt. Like the human body, the human mind is designed to adapt to things. That's how human beings have lived so long on this planet. I think we've been living since the age of dinosaurs. Did humans exist then? Actually, no, I don't think. I don't know. I'm not a like historian. But basically, human beings as a species have lived for so long. People, our ancestors have survived all those different periods like Ice Age, Stone Age, all of these different time periods without all of this technology, without all of this medical knowledge, without all of these advancements that we have in the 21st century. I think it's the 21st. In the 21st century. Yet, we've survived for all this long. That is how I'm here. This is how I'm here. This is how you're here watching this video. We have survived for so long. We have adapted to all of these different circumstances. There's people who can survive in freezing cold conditions. There are people who can survive in scorching hot conditions. There are people who can survive in such hostile environments. It's because human beings have the ability to adapt really well, and our bodies can adapt really well to things if we train it to. If we train it in something, the body will adapt with time. Also, our minds can adapt with time if we let it adapt with time. If we don't let our minds adapt or be open to the idea of change, then that's where we hold ourselves back. This is where we put ourselves in a mental cage and restrain ourselves or refrain ourselves from being able to grow. Because we're locking ourselves in our own mental prison because I can't do that. And then if we actually start doing something and we actually try it and progress with it, you might be surprised at how well you actually do. You might be surprised at how well you adapt. You might be surprised at how well you're actually learning the thing, and how quickly your mindset from I can't can shift to I can. Something my therapist taught me a few months ago when I was talking to him about really bad dating anxiety is he challenged me. He asked me, what is the actual worst thing that can happen? Like, what is the actual worst thing that can happen? And then briefly in the dating context, I was saying this person and I we are incompatible, and then we may or may not stay friends. That was the worst case scenario in my head. But in terms of, sorry, I'm just feeling a little bit annoyed because the audio cut out again. I have to refilm it, and I said it so well before, and then I have to do like a second take. It just like does my head in. See, it doesn't work the same way. I say it better the first time I film this. 1 second. With worst case scenarios that we often construct in our heads and the anxiety catastrophizing, most of the time it doesn't end up like happening in real life. And with me in swimming, I've had this like, I don't know if I think I mentioned it earlier in the video, but I have this like, fuck it, let's do it mentality where I don't let my anxiety take over or really control me in terms of holding me back and restraining me from trying something that's out of my comfort zone. I'm just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. And I don't mean doing something reckless like speeding in a car or, drink driving, or like going to a deep end of a pool and not have anything to hold on to when you actually can't swim, and like not can't swim, when you actually aren't water confident yet. Like, I'm not saying go and do something reckless that is like life threatening. It's more things that are like having that mentality towards things that anxiety sort of holds us back on, with certain things that are like that prevent us from growth. That's the mentality I have towards anxiety that progresses me from growth. Is fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. And if I do it badly, I'll do it badly. Back to the actual worst case, yeah. I said it better the first time. Yes, ask yourself, what is the worst thing that can happen? And then once you've identified the worst possible thing that could happen and picture that in your head, ask yourself this: which one is worse? Taking a leap of faith and throwing myself a little bit out of my comfort zone, or even on the edge of my comfort zone, and doing the thing and then having this outcome possibly happen, this worst case scenario that I've envisioned in my head possibly happen. Like, is that worse, or is being stuck in my own head, like in this mental cage I have sort of imposed on myself to prevent me from progressing in terms of growth? Being stuck in this mental cage, which one is worse? And then ask yourself, this is like taking this further. Imagine yourself 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, or even a few months down the line. Do you want to have, what would your future self would have wanted? Whether it be months down the line, or again, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. Would your future self have wanted to looking back, would your future self be more pleased if you took the leap of faith and just did it, even though you felt scared, and actually had like opportunity to grow from this by taking a leap and just continue to grow? Or still be stuck in the exact same place you were months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, or 10 years ago? What would your future self want? Ask yourself that too. Because the things we often do now often serve our future self. Me learning to swim now and changing this mentality and building swimming confidence not only helps me now, it'll help the version of me 1 year down the line. It'll help the version of me 5 years down the line. It'll help the version of me 10 years down the line, or even 3 months down the line. Like, that is another perspective to tackle this on, is what would your future self want you to do? Would you have regretted not taking the leap of faith and doing the thing that scares you? Would you have regretted that? Would you regret that you're still stuck in the exact same place that you are right now from not taking a leap of faith? This is something to ask yourself. And I think it's important not to only look at it from the now point of view, but your future self point of view. Yeah, something that hit me is this: our internal narratives aren't necessarily us. Our internal narratives of how we see ourselves, the stories we tell ourselves, are just that. It's stories. They aren't necessarily true. There are some true stories and there are some made up stories. It's the same with like how we read books. Sometimes we love movies, we love shows because it's like these alternate universes with all these different things that happen, but they're stories. They're not real. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. I love Attack on Titan, right? Attack on Titan. I won't spoil the story, but that's I always get confused between non-fiction and fiction. It's a made-up story. It doesn't exist. It's not real. Titans don't exist. It's a story. It's made up. Whereas the story of my own life and all the things I've been through, it's a real story. Same with the narratives in our head. Sometimes they're not true. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're helpful. Sometimes they're not. And we need to distinguish between what is actually a true narrative and what is the narrative that is an accurate representation of who I am, my skills, my abilities, all of that. And what are narratives and stories that roam through my head that are false, that are made up, that are based off nothing, that are not based in the concrete reality, that are not based in actual evidence of things, like us telling ourselves that we can't do something even though we haven't actually done it and we haven't tried doing it, and it's just our anxiety making up this narrative that we can't do it. Just being mindful of that, and then challenging the unhelpful narratives, and then basically reclaiming power and rewriting your own story from your own mind. Because another thing is, we often, like, sometimes our thoughts are so automated, right? We don't know what's real and we don't know what's not. We don't know what is actually us and what is actually not. And it's important to take time, whether you see a therapist about it or speak to your friends or someone, just in whatever way you process this and distinguish it. I think it's important to distinguish what is us. Like, who are we truly at the core and who are we not? Because this feels underestimating ourselves. Like, the narratives we tell ourselves can fuel us underestimating ourselves. Yeah, I think that's all the thoughts I had for this video. A very quick summary. Challenge and be aware of your narratives. Be aware of the language you're using to describe yourself, your experiences. Be aware of the automated stories that roam around in your head. Distinguish between what is true and what is not. And from there, you can reclaim power. And if something is basically bullshit, scrap it, rewrite your own narrative. Rewrite your own narrative. Rewrite the story in your head. Rewrite the words you use to describe yourself and your abilities, your experiences. And try not to be just stuck in a narrative that is false and damaging. Thank you for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video. I really enjoyed making this video. It's very much video journaling for me. Yep, and I hope you have a good morning, evening, afternoon, night, wherever you are in the world. See you in the next one.